You're a different guy 1 year into working out than you were before. And if you want to continue to make progress in the way that you eat, the way that you train, the way that everything you do, it's got to kind of adjust at least enough to make sure you're in the green. You know, you want to have consistent, showable, quantifiable gains over the course of time. And that's the proof that what you've been doing has been working. So if you're the exact same size, body weight, strength, every metric hasn't changed over the course of 6 months, all that's telling me, or all that's telling you if you're looking at that info, is everything you've been doing has been enough to stay exactly where you're at, which isn't that hard. A lot of guys are stuck, plateaued for quite a freaking while, and the main reason is the fact that you just got to push it over the edge, just that little percentage more to start making a change, right? I mean, it's like I guess you can think of an exact example of stuff to play into it, but somebody could go to the gym, work out, break a sweat, maybe they do a little bit of cardio every so often. Also, they come home, they eat a decent amount of food, but it's just not enough. The intensity of their training, maybe the consistency of the training is a bit off. Their calorie intake is not sufficient enough to really warrant solid recovery and over recovery into muscle gain. Maybe your sleep is jacked up because you keep staying up all night playing Marvel Rivals, right? I get personally that's something I've never gotten into, and I'm okay with that. But I get the allure. Going to sleep is not as fun as sitting up doing stuff or just playing on your phone or whatever. But it's those little things that if you kind of start to change, shit's going to add up. And they really are little in the sense of you don't really think about it that much. Like, probably should have gone to bed at 10. It's already 1. I'll just stay up a little longer, whatever. Do I want to stick to my? I'm trying. I said I was going to get lean. Screw it. I'm going to Baby Pop. I'm having a cheat day today. Any number of things like that. And in the moment, whatever. It's nothing serious. But I promise it adds up. And if you let it add up long enough, before you know it, shit, man, you're not making gains. You're making losses. Your physique is degrading. You are worse than you looked 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. And sometimes it's hard to get around that. Be it whatever, how your schedule might have changed or your overall workload. Let's say you got some chitlins popped out that you might not have been expecting. That's not me speaking from experience, but I could freaking imagine. It's going to throw your routine out of whack. But that's kind of where I like to, and obviously I've never had to do this yet, so I'm kind of speaking from a spoiled position, of course. But I would imagine that I would at least try to put myself in a position of, keeping my life, not my life vest, but putting my oxygen mask on first before helping others, in the sense that I want to keep my regular sort of routine up so that everything that, goes on in my life outside of the working out just gets to feed off of it. I think we're very focused on, okay, what can I get out of work? Oh, I get to look awesome. I get to look sick. Oh, I get to bench this much. You're forgetting the most important benefit of working out of all. And of course, I like it because it's my thing. I'm working out hard because I want to make serious progress. But even if I wasn't, even if for whatever reason I completely lost the drive to keep trying to put more muscle on, and I said, you know what, I want to put a lot more of my daily focus into something else. I want to become the best pottery sculptor that I can be, and that's what I wanted to put all my extra energy into. I would still want to work out just because being in at least decent shape, it's going to help with everything else. Like we're not as much as we might think it, and I've said this a pretty good amount of times. We're not just we're not machines. In the sense that we can sit on a computer and type in an Excel sheet and play games or scroll on your phone, but you're still a living, breathing thing. You got to move around. If you got 2 dogs, one of them loves to run around, loves to play, loves to chase a ball, loves to fetch. He's just freaking active, dude. And you looked at him next to his brother, and he's kind of just sitting around. He's a little on the hefty side. He's been getting table scraps a little too much. He doesn't really move around as much. He kind of just chills. Which dog would you rather be? And sometimes putting it as simply like that is a little bit of an eye-opener, because I think the answer to that question is very clear. It's not It's not something I have to hem and haw about. It's like, oh, do I want to be the sleepy fat dog, or do I want to be the golden retriever that can basically do a backflip every time I catch a tennis ball? Right? But of course, I guess I'm kind of putting myself into your shoes by saying that. It's kind of up to the individual, because as much as everybody could say the most motivational shit ever, that's not forcing anybody to go to the gym. This isn't a tyrannical kind of situation. It's kind of up to you to make use of that motivation and just bring it. And the fact that some people don't do it makes it that much more valuable if you can, because that's going to set you apart from everybody else. The fact that they don't even want to show up and that you did. That's a goal that really has no end. It doesn't have a point of satisfaction or a point where you can say, all right, I did it. But it also means you can achieve that goal almost constantly, at least in an off season when you're growing. Because if my goal is to get bigger arms, and then over the course of a month, I've gained like a 1/4 inch pumped, that means I did it. I have bigger arms. I still can get bigger arms, but I've kind of actually completed the task on its own. So it's like this twofold situation where you never achieve the goal, but you're also always achieving the goal. You know what I'm saying? So if your goal is just overall, weight loss progression, instead of like, okay, I need to hit 200 pounds lean, I need to hit 220. If your goal is, I want to be leaner, I want to keep losing body fat, and you kind of just keep it, sort of pinpointed there, then sure, you've got a long way to go, but every pound on the way there is still an achievement, right? You're doing it. So it's not so much reaching a state of being, it's more so trying to maintain a state of becoming, kind of a constant sort of improvement, or in some cases not even improvement per se, but just constant change, because you're never going to wake up the exact same guy, and I definitely don't want to feel like I ever will. But with the lifting, that's how I end up thinking about it. I don't have a day where I'm going to say I did it, but also every day I get to say I did it. So kind of a funky way to look at it, but that's what I like. There's no end. It's kind of just a continual, not even grind, because it's fun. It might be different if you seriously hate working out. You hate being sweaty. You hate the feeling of doing like a difficult rep. You hate the gym, but you go anyway. That's a different grind. That's a guy who's got a totally different perspective on the situation than me. Because for me, just getting to come in every day, that's the fun part. Out of everything I do, I can always say, okay, well, I've got a chest day later today. That'll be good. No matter what else is going on, that always gets to be a little bit of a highlight, which definitely spoils me, because then that puts me in a position of showing up. That's not the challenging part. Really trying to bring it like as hard as I possibly can. That's where it gets a little tricky. Like the last few sets of or reps of some of those, pullover push downs, where I had to kind of bend over and rest. But even that's fun, because it's like, I want to push myself like that, so it's just kind of just something to get comfortable with. I don't think, we could all say if we rubbed a golden shaker and a genie popped out, like, oh man, I want to have this inch arms and this legs this big, and I want to squat this much, and I want to, but if everybody instantly got that wish, like let's say we're living in an alternate universe, and that was just the way things were, like you could have as many gains as you want, well then it wouldn't be cool, because it's not something you have to work to get, right? The whole point of a lot of just anything that's kind of fun is the fact that there's kind of a challenge around it. It's like that quote that Jake said, it's, if everybody got everything the minute that they wanted it, there'd be no freaking point. But that's more of, I guess that's almost kind of a cope, because we're in the reality where we can't have it like that, so it's almost like, screw it, it's fun, then it's hard, kind of chip on your shoulder style.